Welcome back. My name is Michaela, and today is my day 62 of 75 hard. It is just a little after 7 in the morning right now, so it's still a little dark in here, but we're gonna go ahead and make breakfast, and then we're heading to the gym. Let's go. Wouldn't typically have 4 eggs for breakfast, but I am going to the grocery store today and I only had 4 left in the carton, so 4 eggs it is this morning. And I'm also going to have a spoonful of peanut butter as well. Alright, it's about 8:15. I'm about to head to the gym, and I'm also about a quarter of the way through my gallon for today.
Look forward.
So I'm heating up some spaghetti for lunch. This is leftover spaghetti that I made with whole wheat pasta and lean meat to try to make it as healthy as possible. And I'm thinking about going swimming later today for my second workout of the day. I'm just not sure if it's gonna be warm enough. I'm a really big baby when it comes to swimming in cold water, especially if I'm gonna have to do it for 45 minutes for my workout. So we'll see if the water ends up being warm enough for me, but that is what I have planned for later today. Lunch is finished and I am 50% of the way done with my water at 12:54 p.m. Just a quick water update. It's 2:45 now, and I'm about 75% of the way through my water for today. That's actually really, really good for me. Typically, I am not that far along at this time in the day, but today I'm really killing it. I'm really killing it. It's about 6 p.m. now, so it's been a few hours since I last saw you. I just finished my water here at 6 p.m., which is really, really early for me personally. I typically do not finish my water by 6 p.m. And I'm about to rush to go down to the pool to get my second 45-minute workout in, which is also going to be my outdoor workout because I'm FaceTiming some of my long-distance friends at 7. So I really need to rush to get my workout in so that I can hop on the FaceTime right at 7. I also realized I kind of didn't leave enough time for me to eat dinner, but I just snacked maybe like half an hour ago on some hummus and organic chips. So hopefully that will last me until after the FaceTime, and then I might eat something else if I'm still feeling hungry at that point. So that is the update, and now let's go to the swimming pool. Okay, it is now 10 p.m. and I just got off the FaceTime with my friends, and I still have to take my progress picture, which is fine because that's very quick, and I still have to read my 10 pages of nonfiction. But I was able to get in my full 45-minute swimming workout before the FaceTime, so that's done, and that was my outdoor workout as well. So yeah, as soon as I take that progress picture and finish my reading, I will be done for the day. So I decided to do something a little bit different in this 75 hard vlog. I'm not sure if you can tell or not based on the clips you've already seen in this video, but I'm trying to include more times, like timestamps, so that people who are considering doing 75 hard or people who are already doing 75 hard can see how another person is fitting all of these things into their day. So I made a little schedule for each day that's going to be in this vlog, but here you can see everything I did Friday, September 19th. I'm going to do a more well-rounded roundup at the end of the video once we see all 3 days lined up side by side. But for now, I'll just mention this day, Friday, September 19th. Is this a normal day or an abnormal day? I think what might be abnormal about it is my water intake. I did not finish my water this early in the day at all throughout all of my 75 hard so far. So, finishing a quarter of my water by 8:15, half by basically 1 p.m., those are all early times for me personally. This was just a random day where I was doing really well with my water intake. And also, I did go to the gym that day. So, since the second half of 75 Hard, I've been going to the gym basically only on Tuesdays. So, it was kind of abnormal for me to go on a Friday, but that's that. And then I typically wouldn't eat dinner so early either, but I had something to do at 7 p.m. And then I was running out of time to do my second workout. So, I did end up eating dinner way earlier than I typically would have. But this is my Friday. And let's get into Saturday. Good morning. It is day 63 of 75 hard. I'm going to start today with my first 45-minute workout of the day, which is going to be an outdoor walk. So this will also serve as my outdoor workout of the day. Halfway through my water at 9:30 in the morning. All right, it's about 1:30 now, so I'm going to go ahead and fix myself a late lunch. I had a Zoom meeting earlier, so I'm doing that classic thing where it's like business on the top and then pajamas on the bottom. Classic. I do have some leftover grilled chicken that I'm going to eat. I'm gonna have some hummus as well. This hummus has red pepper flakes and a little bit of honey in it. And I searched long and hard at the store to see if there was any healthy-ish chip that I could have, and I found one that only has 3 ingredients, which is organic blue corn, sunflower oil, and sea salt. Just those 3 ingredients. So I feel like those are safe for me to eat. And just to add a little bit more color to my plate, I've got a handful of cherry tomatoes. So in the store, these are called grape tomatoes sometimes, but I've always heard them called cherry tomatoes. What do you call them? That was crazy. %50 done with my water at 2 p.m. All right, it is about 5:50, so it's almost 6 p.m. and I'm going to make some salmon for dinner. I think I'm also going to try to make a fruit salad because the expiration date on this salad mix was yesterday. So I'm gonna see if it's still good and try to eat this with my salmon. So let's get cooking. All right, it is about 7:15 p.m. and I am now on the walking pad. So that's going to be my second 45-minute workout of the day. I finished my dinner. I could not eat all of it. It was actually a ton of food, but I did finish dinner. Still not done with my water, but I've already taken my progress picture and I still have to read my nonfiction as well. But for now, we're doing a workout. Finished my water at 8:45. All right, it's about 10:30 p.m. now, and I'm going to do my nonfiction reading for today. In my last 75 Hard video, I was still reading Your Money or Your Life by Vicki Robin and Joe Dominguez, but I have since finished that, and I'm now reading Digital Minimalism by Newport. This will be my last 75 Hard task for today. Tomorrow, I think I might be going to the gym in the morning, but if not, I think I might run, which is so crazy because I typically do not enjoy running very much, but I think I've taken such a huge break from it, from consistently running, that I'm ready to try it again. So stay tuned for that, either gym or running tomorrow morning. We'll see what ends up happening. Okay. So Saturday. Anything normal, abnormal about Saturday? I would say this timetable I have for Saturday, September 20th, is a pretty standard timetable or schedule that I would typically follow during 75 Hard. So I wake up and then immediately the first thing I do is my outdoor workout, which is a walk. So wake up, first workout typically outdoors, then breakfast. I would say that's much more typical compared to what I did Friday. Yeah, I'm not really seeing anything abnormal about Saturday. So I would say this is the most standard and typical representation of what my days would be like when I'm doing 75 Hard. And now on to Sunday. Good morning. Today is day 64 of 75 Hard. We're really almost at the end. Remember when this was like all the way up here? That was so crazy. Like in my first videos, the top of this chart, I guess, wasn't even in the frame. That's how many post-its there were. But anyway, it's 7:45. I just woke up and I think we're gonna go to the gym. But I don't have a lot of time to make myself breakfast, so I think I'm just gonna have a banana and a spoonful of peanut butter. Water update. I was 25% through with my water at 12 p.m. noon. Now it is 1 p.m. and I'm just now sitting down for lunch. I'm going to have a sandwich today and some grapes as well. So this will be my lunch for today. I'm really sore from Friday morning's workout. We did chest and tries that day, so I'm just really sore like right here. And then today we were doing shoulders, and so I felt like I was still using this area right here, so now it's like extra sore. I'm not sure what I'll do for my second workout. Actually, it has to be outside because my first workout was not outside, but I think the high today is like 88 degrees. So I don't know that I want to do something too strenuous. Maybe I should go swimming again. I think either swimming, yoga, or going on a walk. That'll be what we do outside. But for now, I'm going to eat lunch and try to catch up on my water because 25% through is not cutting it. I should be much further along on my water by now, and I'm not. I'm going to go ahead and eat my lunch, and I'll catch back up with you for our second 45-minute workout of the day. It's 3 p.m., and I'm 50% done with my water for the day. So since the last update I gave you, it has rained a lot, which brought the temperature outside down really low. So now I think it's going to be too cold for swimming. And I also think it's going to be too wet outside for me to do yoga. Like, I don't want to put my yoga mat down on the wet ground. So that basically just leaves walking. So we're going to go outside on a walk for our second 45-minute workout of the day. All right, it's 7:45 now and I'm back from my walk. I'm really happy because it didn't rain while I was walking, and I really thought the rain was going to start back up while I was outside, but thankfully it didn't. I just took my progress picture and I'm 75% done with my water for the day. And I'm eating a baked potato for dinner. So the last things I'll have to do today are finishing my water. And I still need to do my nonfiction reading tonight as well. But once I do those two things, it will be a completed day 65 of 75 hard. 64, 63, I think it's 64. I don't know at this point. I cannot keep up. The point is, we're almost done. All right, I'm going to eat my baked potato now. And now we are on to Sunday. So we can see all 3 days in this vlog lined up side by side, but I do want to touch just on Sunday first. Again, the same thing I said about Friday. The abnormal thing is I wouldn't typically do a gym workout on a Sunday. Like I said, those are usually on Tuesdays, so that is slightly abnormal. And then something else abnormal is I was really behind on my water intake this day because I forgot to bring my water bottle to the gym with me. So typically I would have been drinking water, during my workout, on the drive to the workout, on the drive home from the workout. But since I forgot my water, I was way behind. But apart from the water intake and the first workout being the gym on a Sunday, I would say the rest is pretty normal for me on 75 hard. Okay, now let's talk about all 3 days side by side in comparison with each other. First, let's look at our workouts. So like I've mentioned multiple times already, I wouldn't typically go to the gym on a Friday or a Sunday, but I go to the gym with my boyfriend. He gets to bring someone for free anytime he goes to the gym. So I don't go to the gym unless he's already going to the gym. So that's why my first workout of the day is a little bit later, because he doesn't go into work until later. So he does his workout later and I was joining him. So that's why it happens later. But on Saturday, you see I was doing an outdoor walk as my first workout, and that was at 7:45 a.m. I would say that is much more typical for me personally. as far as the workouts go. And then my second workout of the day, let's see, they happen at 6:05 p.m., 7:15 p.m., 6:45 p.m. I would say that's very typical for me. Okay, on to water intake. This was sort of all over the place, truly. Friday, as I've already mentioned, water intake was going really well and really quickly. I would say that is not a typical representation of when I'm actually finishing my water. Saturday is probably a more typical representation of that. And then Sunday, like I said earlier, water intake was much slower and not typical because I had forgotten my water when I went to the gym. So I did have to really chug a lot towards the end of the day, which I really don't like to do. And I don't recommend if you're doing 75 hard, because then you'll probably have to wake up in the middle of the night to go pee. So yeah, I'd say Saturday is the most typical representation I have of when I'm actually aiming to finish my water. Okay, let's look at my meals. So on a typical day, I would wake up, immediately do my first workout of the day, probably outside, and then immediately after the workout, I would eat breakfast. Friday and Sunday, I ended up eating breakfast first because I was going to go out to the gym, and the workout was happening later anyway, so I did end up eating breakfast first. This is atypical for me. Again, Saturday is the most accurate representation of what I'm typically doing. I do seem to eat later lunches, and sometimes I don't even eat lunch until like 2. It kind of just depends. I like to heavy load a lot of the tasks I do outside of 75 hard, but like work related things. I like to heavy load those in the mornings. So sometimes if I'm doing like a really long block of work and I'm feeling productive and like in the flow, then I might keep working a little past when someone would typically eat lunch at like 11 or 12. So typically I do eat sort of a later lunch than the average person, I think. Dinner over the course of these 3 days was all over the place. Dinner Friday was mostly just like a big snack, and I didn't plan ahead enough to give myself enough time to eat a meal because I had something to do at 7 and it went until 10 p.m. But I also had to squeeze in my workout on top of that. So that's why dinner was so early on Friday. On Saturday, I have 5:50 p.m. dinner, which was salmon. I will say this dinner took me a lot of time to cook and to prepare. So even though it says 5:50 dinner, that's when I started making and preparing dinner, but I probably didn't actually eat the dinner until 7 p.m. And I would say that is a more typical time for me to eat dinner, is around 7 or 7:30. And then Sunday you'll see it was 7:50, so it's a little bit later than normal, but still around my normal time. All right, and then the last I'll show you before I show you the official all-inclusive schedule of everything that I did related to 75 hard. The last thing I'll show you is my progress picture and my reading. So you'll see my progress picture is really all over the place. I have one at 10:25 p.m., so right around bedtime. Got one at 3:05 p.m. and 7:45. So they're happening all over the place. In general, I try not to take my progress picture in the morning because I don't think that's an accurate representation of your body. You know, when you wake up first thing in the morning, you're typically way less bloated because you haven't eaten in the past however many hours. So I do, in general, try to take my progress picture after lunch. I think typically it ends up being either right before or right after my second workout of the day, because that's when I'm wearing workout clothes. And at other times in the day, I might just be wearing pajamas or something. So that's why I typically take my progress picture at some point in late afternoon. And then if I forget to take it, then you have a day like Friday where I took it right before going to bed. As far as my nonfiction reading, you'll see that I'm typically reading at the same time every day, which is some point right before I go to sleep. So we've got 10:30 p.m., 10:30 p.m., and 9:30 p.m., and I read 11 pages, 13 pages, and 10 pages. So you are required by 75 hard rules to read 10 pages a day. Sometimes I read a little bit more just because I want to get to a good stopping place before I stop reading. So that's why you'll see a little bit more than 10 pages sometimes. But yeah, typically I am reading my nonfiction right before I go to sleep. It's typically the last thing I do for 75 hard every day. And I haven't mentioned this yet either, I don't think, but I've got my wake up and go to sleep times on here as well. So for these 3 days, I was waking up a little after 7 and before 8, so 7:15, 7:30, 7:45, and I was going to sleep. I would say I don't typically go to sleep this late, but Friday I went to sleep at 11:40 p.m., Saturday 11:50 p.m., and then Sunday 10:30 p.m. So the first 2 days are closer to midnight. I would say typically I try to go to bed between 10:30 and 11 every night. Sometimes earlier if I'm done with everything I need to do for the day and I'm already tired, then maybe I'll go to sleep earlier, but these are a bit later sleep times than what I would typically do. But yeah, that's the breakdown of my 75 hard tasks. And so obviously I'm going to show you the all-inclusive schedule. It looks like a lot. And some people might be thinking, I mean, I work 9 to 5. How am I supposed to do all this stuff with my 9 to 5 job? If you're looking at the schedule, I totally get it seems like there's no empty spaces where you would be doing work, but you also have to keep in mind you're probably already eating breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And so you're not gonna have to make extra time in your schedule to do those things. You're probably already doing those things. And then as for the water, yes, that is taking up a spot in the timetable, but that's not something that you have to stop whatever you're doing to complete, right? You are going to be drinking water throughout your day. So that's not going to be something you end up having to block out time for, if that makes sense. Same with the progress picture. I mean, it takes less than a minute to take your progress picture, so you can do this at any time in your day. You're not going to have to set aside time necessarily to do this. And your progress picture is probably going to be something you do before or after work anyway. You're probably not going to take it while you're at work, so that's not necessarily something you need to worry about with your work schedule either. As you've seen for me, I do my nonfiction reading right before bed. You might want to do yours right when you wake up or maybe on your lunch break or something. But again, this isn't something that you're going to need to take time out of your workday to complete. It does take longer than taking a progress picture, for instance, but it doesn't take that long. I wonder how long I would say it takes. I mean, probably at least 10 minutes, right? A minute per page, maybe a little less if you read fast, and maybe even 20 minutes if you do not read fast, which is totally fine. I will say the thing that you are going to have to actually schedule out time for, because it takes up huge chunks, is your workouts. So again, if you're thinking, I have a 9 to 5 job, I can't do all of this stuff throughout my day, I don't have the time. Really, if you can just make time for your workouts, you will be able to have time for everything else, in my opinion. But what I would highly suggest is doing your first workout of the day before you go to work. And I know some people are going to hear that and think, I don't have time before I go to work, or I don't want to wake up early before I go to work. And if you are one of those people who has a really long commute, or you have to go into work pretty early, like most people, I would say, go to work at maybe 8 or 9 in the morning. But if you go in earlier, like 6 a.m., 7 a.m., or again, you've got that long commute, so you have to leave your house at 6 a.m., I can totally understand how you're thinking, I can't wake up any earlier to do a 45-minute workout. And then you're probably going to have to shower, maybe dry your hair as well after that. So it ends up taking a pretty big chunk of your time. I'm not going to lie to you. But if you are one of the people who goes into work at 8 or 9 and you don't have to leave your house or your apartment until like 20 or 30 minutes before, I do think that you could probably make it work. And I know, again, some people too have to, take their kids to school or something. I mean, everyone has something. But I think in general, if you can swing it, I would really, really, really try to do your first workout of the day before you go to work. As for the second workout of the day, again, I would probably do this immediately when you get home from work. I know for me, if I came home from work and sat down on the couch, it would be really hard for me to get back up and do my second workout of the day. So that's why I would suggest doing it right when you get home from work. Like, do not sit down on the couch. Do not turn your TV on. For me personally, that just makes it way less likely that you're going to get back up and do your second workout. So for me, I would get home from work, immediately go to my room, change into my workout clothes, and then immediately do that second workout of the day. That way it's out of the way before you've really started your leisure time, like your post-work leisure time, whatever it is you do during that time. But yeah, this is what a schedule may or may not look like for you if you decide to do 75 hard or if you're already doing 75 hard. But yeah, I hope this was helpful for you. And if you are doing 75 hard, I wish you the very best of luck. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!